months' time.
What is the aim then? Because obviously, as you say, it will take time.
I think it's very difficult to sit down at this stage and start talking about goals, both short-term and long-term. I think with Laurie arriving in this weekend, we will sit down and start to look at where we think realistically we can hope to finish. But as I said, it's about managing that expectation. I do believe we have a very good squad. I do believe there's a huge sense of optimism around the players going into a new season, as there always is. But for us, it's about short-term goals. It's about getting out, performing well. It's about making sure that when the season comes around, we're as well prepared as we possibly can be, bearing in mind the fact that our coaches have arrived in a little bit later than we would like.
How much of a role did you play in the appointment process of the coaching team? Because obviously you're the one who heads them up.
Yeah, it's a good question, but simply because I was still involved with Ulster, working out my notice period there. But while I didn't lead the negotiations, I think Steve Vaughan takes a huge amount of credit for bringing the coaches in. I was very much aware of what was going on. I was aware of who we were talking to. I was aware of what I believe the club needed in terms of going forward to ensure that the performance on the pitch matches the expectation of the players and the supporters.
And obviously Laurie comes in as head coach, as you say, this weekend. How will you divide it up in terms of what you do? What's your role? Is it more sort of the strategy and player recruitment and leave the coaching to him?
I think that's probably a pretty good summary of where it sits. A very simple way of saying it is Laurie's responsible for what happens that side of the white line. My responsibility is for what happens off the pitch, and making sure that when the players and coaches are out in the pitch performing, whether that's training or in matches, everything is in place to allow them to perform to the highest possible level.
One player you know here, I'm sure very well, John Afoa. How instrumental will he be in bringing Gloucester back to what the Shed have been used to, which is a dominant pack over the years?
One of the big challenges as a coaching team that we've got to try and put together is to marry the traditional Gloucester values and what's made Gloucester a very difficult place and Kingsholm a very difficult place to come and play, alongside some of the quality backs that Gloucester obviously have. When you look at the performances last season and see some of the tries that the team scored, it's very obvious the X factor that's here. I don't think at this stage of the season you really want to focus on any one particular player. I think the balance of the squad is now very good. A lot of the weaknesses that were identified last year have been addressed through recruitment, and hopefully over the course of the next few weeks and months that will be reflected in the performances on the pitch.
How well do you need to know the players if your role is more of the strategy, or is that still an important factor?
I think in any organisation, knowing the players, knowing the people, knowing the employees that you work with is a huge part of maximising their potential and ensuring that they perform well on the pitch. So that's part of what the next few weeks is. It's getting to know the players, it's getting to know the staff, it's getting to know what's working well, it's getting to know what needs to be looked at and perhaps changed as time goes on. But I think we'll see a lot over the course of the friendlies in the next 3 or 4 weeks. In the next 3 weeks building into the Aviva Premiership, we'll get a fairly good idea of what our team is going to look like. Because we do know the players, we've watched lots of rugby, we've been involved in European competition, and so many of the players that are performing for Gloucester week in, week out have performed at a higher level.
Mind goes back to when Gloucester went to Ravenhill, and I think there was a blitz in the first 20 minutes. It was almost point a minute at that start. Did that just sort of show you the potential of what Gloucester, when they're on song, can achieve?
That's a long time ago now, and I think my last memory of being at Kingsholm was a European Cup game where I threw 2 intercepts. So I think it's a case of for us all coming in. It's going to be a very, very different season to anything that's gone before. There's 26 new players in the squad. There's an entirely new management team. So look, it's very different to what anybody's been used to. It's very hard to make comparisons with the past. This is about this team and this management team starting to create their own little bit of history, and hopefully in years to come, as we look back, this will be the start of building some more success for Gloucester.
And looking at everything that's here, so much potential.
Everything that you would want, all the building blocks that are necessary to put together a successful rugby team are clearly here, whether it's the stadium, whether it's the supporters, whether it's the training venue, the commercial aspects of what goes on behind the scenes. And now we believe we've got a team both on the pitch in terms of playing and coaching, but also off the team, that will allow us hopefully to build on that and, as I've said on a number of occasions, try and create some more success here.
I would say, can you wait to get started? But actually, is there enough time before the season starts, with obviously the timescale's been so crunched?
if we're honest, it hasn't been an ideal pre-season. But again, I think there's a huge amount of credit to the people who have been on the ground and who have pushed the players very hard. For me, coming in the last couple of weeks, there's been a huge sense of optimism around. There's been a huge buzz around the squad. The players have worked very hard. The fitness testing results have been very good. So lots of what needed to be done has been done. Now the challenge is for the coaches and the new, for myself and Laurie, who have come in at such short notice, to try and put things in place for the start of the season that will allow us to compete.
I mean, will that mean having to play something of a simpler game plan to start with and then sort of developing that as you go along?
In a time of change, that's always the way excuse me, that it's going to be. You're going to start with the very basics. You're going to start with a simple game plan. But you also know that if you get those simple things right, simply because of the quality of player that is going to be representing Gloucester this year, if we can create those opportunities, we'll be very, very competitive.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much.